featuring enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Now, those of you who follow me know what? I'm your weather girl, and oh my gosh, is the weather coming. We've already gotten some bands of heavy rain and wind from that hurricane that's developing, and it's really not that close to us. This storm is 400 miles wide. Hello? It's huge. It covers the whole state of Florida. Now, the eye, fortunately, is not going to come to South Florida. It's going to hit, unfortunately, for the people up in the Panhandle, many of whom are already evacuating because they're looking at what they say, flood surge, 15 to 20 feet. I mean, that'll put some houses completely underwater, right? Incredible. So, you know, I love the weather. I love to know what the weather's like where you are. So when you join in today, put it in the comments so I'll know where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are. Aruba, you could even tell us what the weather's like where you are right there in the comments. You guys know I love having a dialogue and not a monologue. So I am excited to be here today. We've got changes in the works. Things are rocking and rolling. My goodness. I was thinking about the title that I gave today. And are you living in the past? Heard Jim Fortin speak earlier last week, and he said, anytime we feel bad about something, we're living in the past, right? We're going to be talking a little bit about that a little bit later on. We're going to get into our Jana van Zant book. But think about that. Aruba says, it's super hot here. Oh, my goodness. I got to see if I can pronounce where she's from. She's so cool. Hey, did you like my cool glasses, Aruba? Did you see what happens there? Magnetic. She says it's super hot here in Karachi, Pakistan. Oh, my gosh. Must be the middle of the night there. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe it. Love your specs. Thank you so much. The sad news is I get to use them more and more and more lately. And I may have mentioned on one of my shows when I went to my father's funeral a few months ago, I discovered that both of my brothers in their 60s, I just turned 65 on Saturday, by the way. We didn't have a party. What's up? Facebook, StreamYard crowd, didn't have a party. Maybe we'll have a belated one. Anyway, I learned that both of my brothers had cataract and LASIK surgery. They no longer need glasses of any kind. I'm like, I got these reading glasses. I got my glasses that I drive with for distance that are prescription. So I made a mention to somebody the other day. I wish I could just go in and get the surgery. And they go, well, you can. And I was like, no, I don't have any cataracts. They said, yeah, you probably do. Most all of us have cataracts in one degree or another. And I said, really? And they were like, yeah. They said, we can send you to this great doctor. So now that I'm 65 and I get to be on Medicare, we're going to see what Medicare will pay for. Aruba says, happy belated birthday. Lots of love and wishes. Thank you so, so much. I really had a good day. A friend of mine from the Women's Executive Club treated me to lunch and drinks at Capitol Grill. Oh, my God. I would go back there, excuse me, please, and have that once a week. I had a great grilled filet mignon and a cup of incredibly good Manhattans made with Woodford Reserve Double Oak Bourbon. Really good. And then I came home about 3:15, 3:30, and my LSU Tigers, come on, those of you who follow me know I'm an LSU Fighting Tiger fan. My LSU Tigers won their football game. And then my new landlord rang me up. He took me to dinner. How cool was that? Hardly know the guy. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe. Pretty cool. So I had a good day. I still miss my dad. I didn't get any snail mail. My dad always knew I loved getting cards in the mail, and he always sent me a card. So I did miss that. But I was really grateful. My older brother called, and we had a good conversation. So that was good. Birthdays are good. So where are we living in the past, right? When we feel guilty, when we feel bad, when we feel regretful, right? Those are all a waste of time. Jim Fortin said to us in our group coaching that we get to understand, are we making decisions from fear or from a place of love? Because wherever we're making any decisions from, we're going to get more of that. Think about that. I was coaching a client this morning who kept saying all this garbage after the words, I am, I'm afraid, I'm this, I'm like, no. That's an invocation, folks. Anything we say after the words, I am, is an invocation. Aruba, it just dawned on me, you can see those are real trees in the background, by the way. This is not a fake background. They're real. But it'll be blowing and going in the next couple of days. I've got 2 Zoom speaking engagements to 2 different audiences of Sharp Heels, which is a corporate event for women in corporate America. I've spoken in person twice the last 2 years, and now it's on Zoom. Not the same. How many of you know? Put it in the comments. The energy in the room is so different than it is when you're on. Aruba says, I see the wind in the backyard. Yeah, it is. The wind is cool. It's keeping things a little cooler today, which is nice. You can tell it's pretty gray. There's not much sun out there, if any at all, today. Maybe that's the day to go for a walk, right? So yeah, we get to look at that, and we get to ask ourselves, where am I letting myself off of the hook? Come on, we all get to have a good coach, because personal accountability is so hard. Even the top coaches in the world. Tony Robbins has a coach. Shanda Sumter has a coach. Kelly Roach has a coach. And these are 8-figure and going on 9-figure companies. I mean, Tony Robbins might already be a 9-figure. I don't know, but I'm just saying. We get to learn that we can never stop growing and learning, and that we all have our blind spots, right? We all have them, and we can't see them. That's why they're called blind spots. But when we have someone outside of us, if we're open to being coachable, right? If we're open to learning, who's willing to share with us what they see, then we can foster effective change. So I had a couple of notes over here. This is something I was talking with a client about earlier today. She kept saying, I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to try. There is no try, folks. We either do it or we don't. We get into action, or we choose to not get into action. But every time we say, I'm trying, it elicits doubt. Somewhere underneath, we don't really believe we can get it done. Who's got a comment on that? When we say I'm trying, or I'm going to try. I'm going to try to be there. Well, that's total bullshit, right? Because there ain't nothing happening. You're either going to show up or you're not going to show up. I heard someone the other day say, I'm so lazy. I'm like, number one, what would compel you to claim that out loud? Number two, lazy is just a judgment. You're either in action or not in action. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. And let's try to take a look at things without all the judgment, right? The judgment about rightness and wrongness, black and white, good and bad. Because our reticular activation system, our RAS, our RAS, is going to go out and find exactly what we're thinking about, what we're looking for. How many of you have heard the phrase, the very thing I feared came upon me? Was that from Shakespeare? It's from something back there. But the very thing I feared came upon me. How is that possible? Because you kept thinking about it, talking about it. Tell your friends, tell your spouse, tell your family. Talk about it some more, tell your coworker. And so we make this little molehill into this huge, huge mountain. Aruba said, I am here, present in this moment, and would love to learn and grow as much as I can. I want to make the most of this life. That is awesome. Awesome. Blessings to you. and that you're so young and you're already on that path. The coaching program in there, there's a young man in there. He's 24 years old. And he was in the hot seat a few weeks ago. And I made a comment in the chat. I said, oh my goodness, if I could have had this teaching and training and coaching when I was 24, my life would have been completely different. One of the coaches saw my comment and put it in there. You weren't ready at the age of 24. You're ready now. This is when you're supposed to be here. Damn, took me 40 years, right? 40 years. But I've been learning all along the way. That's the cool thing. As long as we keep learning, keep pivoting, don't give up, be open to making the changes, and be open to looking at us. So one of the clients I was coaching this morning, on the prep sheet, I have my clients fill out a prep sheet. It's got 6 questions. It's very easy, but it allows us to hit the ground running because I don't like to waste time in telling stories or catch me up on what's happened in the last 2 weeks. Send it to me in a prep form so we hit the ground running and I know exactly what you want to work on. Well, one of her things was time management. And I said, well, we don't manage time. Nobody gets to manage time. Time is what it is. You can't control it. You can't slow it down. You can't stop it. Can't speed it up. What you do get to manage is your behavior within the allotted time that you have. And so she proceeded to tell me how busy she was. Here's a writer downer for you folks. Busyness is an intimacy issue. So I started asking some deeper second and third level questions. Because this wasn't about intimacy, her with somebody else. This was about intimacy. What was she avoiding looking at in her life that she kept staying so busy? Come on, how many of us have said it? We've done it. Oh, yeah, I'm just too busy. And yet, we'll take on something new. Even though we're already busy, right? Whether it's fear of missing out, we want someone to not like us, we don't have solid boundaries and are uncomfortable saying no, I'm not open to do that at this time. No is a complete sentence. It's just no, right? She ended up in tears, to be honest, because the questions started bringing up a lot of stuff for her from her divorce. I shared something about something that my parents had said and not even having any idea that it was going to stir something up in her, and it did. And she was in tears. She goes, oh my God, I did that to my daughter and my son too. Well, you did the best you could with what you had at the time. Sometimes that's hard to accept, but it's easy to say. Easy to say, right? Maya Angelou tells us that it's important that we believe what somebody shows us about them the first time. The first time. How many of us have made excuses? Oh, she didn't mean it. Oh, he didn't mean it. How many times are we willing to do that? Sometimes, a lot of times, we get to get underneath and look at how's it serving us to hold on to this person or this relationship or this situation. Attachment's a killer. Being attached to things causes us more problems in life than pretty much anything else, right? We want it to turn out our way. We know best. Yeah, God's kind of cured me of that these last few years, right? Father knows best. Heavenly Father knows best. And all these things start coming together, right? All these things. Have you ever had an Oprah aha moment where you're like, how did that happen? Or I never thought about that before. That's a new awareness coming into your jar, right? For some reason, people love it when I do that, but I always say my next book is going to be called You Can't Read the Label When You're Inside the Jar. And we're all in a jar, right? As a good coach, I get to read your label and help you write a new label so you can throw an anchor into your future and let go of the story that's holding you in the past. This client was so busy and so tired. And I asked her what she was doing for self-care. And she said, I was just thinking about that the other day. And I thought about this retreat out in Arizona that I would love to go to. I've been to it once before and it meant the world to me. And she said, that would just feel so good. And then she really started crying, right? How is it serving her to stay busy and not take care of herself, right? I don't have time, Carol. Well, how about you take 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, and you begin to create your vision board for travel and for self-care. Not for work, not for growing your business, not for the new house. This is strictly for travel. This is strictly for self-care, right? Whether that's going to a spa, going to a retreat, going to Italy or Spain or Europe or wherever it is you want to go. We get to plan those things and we get to carve that time into our day. It's valuable for us to do that and fill ourselves up so that we give to others from our overflow. Otherwise, we do what? We wear out. Who's been there with me? Put Yana in the comments. I've been there. Gotten worn out. Who's ready for Ayan Levanzan? For those of you who are new here, this book is called Until Today. It's an annual daily inspirational book, devotional, get you to think, inspire you. And for some reason, I thought today was September 27th, and it's actually the 25th. I'm still going to read the 27th because it struck me that it went with some of the things we're chatting about today. I experience and express the power of trust because everything I need always comes to me. Now, you guys who follow me know I get my clients to take that word need out of their vocabulary, right? When we need to, have to, must to, it means we're coming from lack. But we're going to read it how Ayanna wrote it. Very often we place demands on the universe to provide us the things we want by saying that we need them. I'm going to read that sentence again. Very often we place demands on the universe and on other people probably to provide us with the things we want by saying that we need them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a want. However, when it is not satisfied, you must not be fooled into believing that the universe does not support you. Nor should you believe it is an indication that you cannot trust the universe to take care of you. The point is, do not confuse your needs and your wants. Here's an example of how that could happen. Let's say you live 50 miles outside of town and you have no transportation. You might think, she says that in italics, you might think that you need a car to get around. Granted, a car would make it more convenient for you to get around. It would make you feel a lot more comfortable knowing that if there was an emergency, you could get someplace fast. However, the truth of the matter is, you don't need a car. You want one. You have 2 feet. There are bicycles. You probably have neighbors who have a car. Or perhaps you could be a bit more prudent about the situations you put yourself into and expect the universe to get you out of. Ooh. Right? How often have we chosen to do something and cried help, wanting someone to save us? There are angels around you at all times. Their job is to protect you from harm and provide you with the essentials of life. These angels do not interfere with your choices. How many of us know we have free will? What are you choosing? What am I choosing? And then are we choosing to complain about the choice that we made? Or perhaps you're choosing to blame something outside of you for the choice that you made, right? It's my husband, it's the boss, it's the weather, it's the car, it's the kids. Remember, folks, every time you do that, you give up your power. And we're all about owning our power here in Carol's podcast. These angels do not interfere with your choices. When you ask for help, the angels will respond. When you call out to the angels to help you with a need, and they discover that it is actually a want, they get really pissed. So watch it. Once you send your angels on a wild goose chase, they will be a bit slower about responding to your next call. Until today, you may not have realized that you were upsetting the angels who work on your behalf. Just for today, get clear about the difference between what you need and what you want. When you call upon your angels for help, be clear about what you're asking for. Today, I'm devoted to letting my angels know exactly what I want. What do we often talk about here, Aruba? Clarity is power, right? And we get clarity from specificity. So we get specific, gives us clarity. Clarity gives us power, because now we're operating from a place of choice. And only when we own that we're choosing can we then make a different choice. So if I'm blaming something outside of me, I'm saying, "Ooh, I didn't choose it." That means I don't get to make a different choice. So if I do that, I'm really committed to what? I'm committed to being stuck. We're all committed to something. Oftentimes we say we're committed to our vision, what we want out of life. But if we really looked at our behavior, we're committed to something completely different. What are you committed to? And when you get clear on what you're committed to, what are you willing to do? What step are you willing to take? What action are you willing to get into to support that commitment? One of my clients a couple of weeks ago, she's been getting ready to get ready. She had her first session with me. How did I know that? I had her fill out a detailed intake form. And she basically told me, right? By the end of that call, we already had the date on her calendar for her first masterclass. Some people call it a webinar, whatever you want to call it. We had a date. It was only 10 days out. She showed up. 8 people showed up live. They stayed the whole time. That's something to celebrate, folks. Got her into action right away. Because only with action do we get results. And when we have results, we have something we can measure. And when we can measure it, we can manage it. Sometimes we don't want to look at the results in our lives, our businesses, do we? Oh, can I just stick my head in the sand and not look at that? Right? You know what they say? If we act like an ostrich and we stick our head in the sand, our ass is in the air to get kicked. It's happened to me. Has it ever happened to you? Put Yana in the comments for me. Say, you are not alone, Carol. You're not alone. Right? It most definitely happens. Aruba, do you have a challenge you'd like me to address? I could give you some empowering questions around it. We could do a little hot seat coaching if you wanted to. Hot seat coaching is going to be added into the new format, along with cracking your code. Y'all see my code right there, NBKA. Bet you don't know what it means. But you keep following me, and one day you will. Maybe we'll crack your code. I told Aruba we're going to get the show changed, and then anybody who wants to be a guest on the show gets to crack their code first. I'm going to be bringing on some experts who've been certified in this bank technology for 6, 7, 10, 15, 16 years, right? I'm less than a year in. I've learned so much. It's incredible. It's incredible. Any new client who comes on board gets to crack their code first. Met with one of them last week, and she wanted to know more about cracking the code right off the top. And I said, I looked at her code and I said, may I share with you what I know about you just from knowing your code? And she said, yes. And I began to tell her. Her eyes got bigger and bigger. She goes, oh my God, that is dead on. And I said, your third position, you can look at my third position, it's K. That's where I go under stress. And I told her, this is what you typically do under stress. Is that correct? And she goes, that's exactly what I do. It's amazing. This tool is amazing. Now, bear in mind, we all have all 4 codes in us to varying degrees or another. So it's really important that we look at the first code and the second code, the dominant 2 codes, and then understand their third code, which is a stress code, so that we learn how to get them back into their dominant code. No, I'm not speaking code language. It's called Crack My Code. If you want your code cracked, you get a free report. We'll have a conversation about it. Put it in the comments or private message me. And we will do that for you. It'll take you less than 90 seconds to crack your code. I'm going to send a shout out and a prayer out to all those that are in not only the panhandle of Florida, but this storm is going to inundate Georgia up through the Carolinas, dumping feet of rain into some areas that they need rain, but they don't need floods, right? There's that need word again. They said it so many times on the Weather Channel this morning. They need the rain, but they don't need all at once, right? Because the ground can't absorb it. Same thing with us. We think we want everything all at once, but what we don't realize is that we really couldn't absorb it. We really couldn't take it on. We want to think that we can, but we're not that different. We're not that different. Listen, if you're ready to crack your code and reframe your life, once again, private message me, put it in the chat. I'll send you the link and we'll have a conversation. Crack your code, reframe your life. We're going to cut it off a couple of minutes short here today. We're going to wrap it up, Miss Aruba. Go in peace, everybody. Have a blessed day. And if you're ready to crack your code and reframe your life, and you want a good coach who can help you do that faster and easier, that's just another reason let's have a conversation. My name is Carol Boston. Right now, this has still been the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, but coming soon, crack your code, reframe your life. Blessings. Go in peace, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, brought to you by Life Coach Today magazine, empowering your health, your business, your community, your life. Check out the latest issue today at lifecoachtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.